What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. We'll get Wimkin fired up here. Looks like we are live on Wimkin at this point. Nice to have everybody in the house. Got a lot to cover, a lot of things to cover. Holy moly, got a bunch of stuff to do. Should be a busy night. That's good. Solo nights, I get a lot more covered than when we have multiple hosts on. It's just easier. It's not that I don't enjoy multiple hosts on. It's tough to get to all the news sometimes. I've got a correction on, not a correction, just a clarification on Kevin's question in regard to the Nuremberg trials and Japanese being held accountable in World War II. We're going to kind of go over that. Don't let me forget to do that, especially if Kevin is on. Don't let me forget to do that. Livia's off tonight. Leroy's off tonight. Amy's off tonight. Just me, you, and Magoo. Thank you.
I got a call back.
You got a call back.
I got a call back.
So what is that? So you're good. That's good, right?
That's a really, really good thing. Yeah.
High five. Love you. Congratulations, baby. All right, 10 seconds. Hayden got her call back for high school play, which is really exciting. We'll see you guys in 3 minutes. We'll be right back.
Hey, Hogswins here. Check out our friend Matthew Spirit at his podcast at The DUM Show and his website, don'tunfriendme.com. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? Matthew Spear from the Don't Unfriend Me show. I am proud to announce that the Documents of Freedom are back in stock. It's a 3-book collection, leather-bound, by Arcadia Publishing. Starts out with the Bill of Rights, and it's the complete edition of the rights, so you can look up and reference anything your heart desires. Declaration of Independence with revisions and founder images included, beautifully illustrated. And last but not least, what would Documents of Freedom be without the Constitution of the United States of America in its entirety? The box is handmade by PFC Flags, custom engraving, all 100% made in the USA from the nails to the glue. And we have a 5-star rating, satisfaction guaranteed, 150 sold, 5 stars or better. It is so important, especially in today's society, to ensure that the younger generation has these books available in the future. Get them for your family and friends, available right now. Head on over to thedumshow.com/books. Thanks so much.
Step into the
Adjusting transmitter output.
I was late.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
What is going on, Don't Unfriend Me Nation? Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show. I'm going to try not to be off-putting tonight. Yes, I'm making a shirt. I've embraced the title. I'm going to wear it with pride. Welcome. We got a good show tonight, and Facebook is throttling the living hell out of my show. I mean, I haven't seen numbers like this since God was a corporal. This is terrible. Haven't seen this in a while. So we're going to, we'll just do what we always do and we'll muscle through it. Go over to Wimkin and watch because they're a free speech network and they don't mind. Listen, 200,000 followers and 35 people, really 35. Now, even if I'm off-putting, I promise you that more than 35 people find me valuable. It's gotten to the point where it's ridiculous. It's so blatant and it's so obvious that I don't even need the stats of looking at memes and looking at, comments that I post and seeing the interaction and then seeing the live show. Now, I understand Facebook has to kind of compact everything. They've got multiple shows competing for the same space. I completely understand that. But even if you just show this to my audience of 200,000, you show it to 1% of that group. That's 2,000 people, if my George Bush math is correct. Out of 2,000 people, 35 think it's interesting. I don't agree. Not when I hear all the time, oh man, the show's so good and it was so spot on and it was just accurate. And yeah, I don't know. But anyway, we're gonna get to it. I've got a couple clarifications to get through tonight. A couple things. VCL and I don't even care anymore. They're going to pop up a copyright infringement on me for the SEAL Team CBS ad. I'm playing it anyway. It's been almost a year since we've been working and trying to get VCL to agree and allow us to play it. It's actually CBS. It's not VCL who are being a pain in the butt. So I'm just going to do it, and I don't care. We've had the little graphic on the bottom of the page when we close, but you saw it in the opening, and we're going to put it at the end too. Don't let me forget. I may forget because it's been a while. What do I want to clarify? A couple things. One is that we were talking about Japan, and Kevin had called in. He said, hey, Matt, why were the Nuremberg trials for Germany so big and so memorable, but the were non-existent? Thank you for the donation. My God, thank you. Chevelle, you're the best. $10.80. Thank you, folks. That is our ticker down below here. You can see where we're at. I'm going to move this over a little bit. You see where we're at? We're trying to hit, that 150 to 200 per show because that's what it costs to put these darn shows on. So we appreciate anything you do to help out. We understand that we always want to try to have free content. If you don't have it, listen, don't sweat it. Don't put yourself in a position. We're just trying to make sure that we stay consistent and stay on the air. That's the most important thing. There's a lot of people. We'll talk about that tonight because I want to talk about the media influencing type stuff that's been going on with Russia and all that. We're going to talk about that tonight. All right. So there were Japanese trials, just like Nuremberg. Nah, not just like Nuremberg, but quite a few countries got involved. Malaysia got involved. Australia got involved. Fiji, China, a few others had some pretty obviously ill feelings towards Japan after World War II. And there were about 4,800 military executed. Now, the reason why I didn't bring this up is because you could go ahead and get the commanders. And most of the commanders and officers in the German Nazi army were handled a little bit differently. You saw a lot of executions from Operation Valkyrie, where Hitler, months before he actually committed suicide, and Germany surrendered, you saw a lot of people politicians, officers, everything tried to overthrow and execute a coup d'état and a coup d'état, coup d'état, and it ultimately wiped out a whole bunch of leadership that had any dissension towards Adolf Hitler. Then you have the attrition of the war itself, which obviously decimated Germany. And then you have the agreements that were made with scientists and people in high positions in the military as kind of a buy your leave type thing. Buenos Aires, South America, repositioning a lot of Nazis to that area. A lot of them fled to that area. United States helped bring scientists over here. All these things played into the German trials that were highly publicized and all over the country. Japan was a little bit different. And I explained that Japan, with the atomic bombs that were dropped, made a huge impact. But 4,800 Japanese were summarily executed for their heinous crimes, rape, decapitation, just horrible, just mutilation of corpses, just bad stuff. The Japanese were not good people. Especially their barbarism was just off the charts. And the problem is that when you look at Emperor Hirohito and Admiral Yamamoto and everyone else who was in the supreme leader of Japan, and everybody from top to bottom from admirals and generals on down, the trials did not encapsulate those people because they wanted Japan to kind of heal, and they wanted Japan to kind of be able to move on and move forward. So this was, when I say Japan kind of got away with it, they did. It wasn't it wasn't Europe. It wasn't the U.S. pushing. It wasn't in the media. It wasn't all over the place. It was just very cut and dry. Here are the people. These are the crimes. We're going to go ahead and move on, and we're going to rebuild this society where their back is broken. And very similar to Germany, no military, essentially an armistice treaty of you're not going to have a military. The United States is going to put bases in your territory to make sure you never do this again. All of these things were very similar, but the overall bite to it, Nuremberg had in the opinion of general public, that the Germans did far worse than the Japanese. I don't think anyone who is a victim of Japanese barbarism feels the same way, but I'm just letting you know. That was my point. So there was a fantastic post from one of my Rumble users. They came on and they said, hey, I'm not sure what you meant by this. That clarifies it. And honestly, a lot of what you posted, I didn't know. World War II is like, there's like three major topics that when you encroach upon, you better get ready, because they're the most written about topics in the world, at least in American and the last 120 years in our history. World War II is hands down the most written about subject ever. Number two is probably the Kennedy assassination. And then the Civil War, not in the last 120 years, but Civil War is pretty big too. So if you're going to get into Civil War, you're going to get into World War II, you're going to get into the Kennedy assassination, you better know your stuff. And my brain is filled to the brim with JFK assassination stuff. 75% with World War II, and probably 50% Civil War. I know a little bit about the Civil War outside of what most people know. I think I'm fairly well read into it. World War II, I would consider myself also fairly well read. And JFK, I would humbly, if that's possible, put myself probably in the top 0.01% in the world as far as someone who has read, dove into photograph, autopsies, interviews, Warren Commission, books, movies, briefs, theses done by college students, my uncle's involvement, conversations with him. I consider myself an expert on the JFK assassination. And you can go ahead and ask me that question and find out for yourself whether that's true. But anyway, I wanted to make sure people understood what my point was. Is Japan was not in the limelight. Japan kind of got away with murder. Yes, people were held accountable. That happens in war. But the Germany was in the spotlight for quite some time. And the atrocities that that took place against Japan were far worse than Germany. Now, people want to talk about Dresden and the way that we treated, troops in Germany, but outside of the normal bombings of Berlin and strafing lines and having trench warfare, which is all under combat, what we did to Japan was horrific. I mean, people really don't understand that we chose civilian targets to essentially cripple Japan and send a message that either you surrender or you're done. We'll blow up your entire island. And the first message didn't get through. And the high command in Japan and the supreme leaders were like, no, we're not. This is exaggerated. Nothing happened. So they dropped a bomb. Who cares? We'll go ahead and continue this war. And we'll continue to push in the Philippines, and we'll push into the Isles, and we'll move, and we'll grab parts of northern Australia, and we'll expand our territory, hold our territory, and we will be a superpower. And the U.S. is like, okay, hit them again. So when you flash, 365,000 people, and then subsequently irradiate, another 250,000, that's a pretty. Japan didn't get away with anything. The military and the leadership is my point. So you guys can tell me what you think. And for the person on Rumble, I don't remember your name, but I thank you very, very much. I had somebody come on, and nice to see the numbers coming up a little bit, by the way. I had somebody come on my page, and Amy alluded to this, and they were just dropping lies all over the place about Trump, and it kind of bothers me because we're going to go over two things. I'm going to go over one thing. Sorry, I'm talking 100,000 miles an hour. I want to go over two things. One is misnomers about Donald Trump. Two is misnomers about Kamala Harris, because I'm actually going to defend Kamala Harris tonight, and that's going to drive people crazy. But I don't like liars. I can't stand them. And I don't care who. It's like my wonderful brother in arms neighbor, who is like a dad to me, came over and he's like, hey man, I went to Ashburn and I got some Trump signs. Do you want them? And I'm like, yes, of course I do. And the day before we were talking about, one of our neighbors, somebody had spray painted all the Trump signs and crossed them out. And I was like, that's horrible. I mean, it's stupid. What are you doing? That costs people money. A lot of people, especially this guy, he gets them from the Trump campaign, but he pays for them himself. He had one custom made in his front yard and built it himself, and it's not cheap. And I didn't like it. And then my neighbor told me that the Kamala Harris signs that were on the corner, somebody ripped those out and threw them in the street. And I said, well, that's not cool either. Listen, I don't like Kamala Harris. When I see a Kamala Harris sign, I want to throw up in my mouth. But you have no right to touch somebody else's property. And what you're doing is against the law. You're breaking the law. People go, oh, it's just a campaign sign. No, it's personal property that has a dollar value attached to it, and you're destroying it. That's against the law. So to me, I think it's stupid. You're not going to change anything by ripping down a Kamala. Leave it up. And put up 40 Trump signs, right? Or go knock some doors and have some conversations with people in the neighborhood. Go ask them, hey, why are you voting for Kamala Harris? What's wrong with, you're going to get the door slammed in your face probably 100 times for every one that talks to you. But if you want to make an impact, start knocking doors. Start volunteering at an office. Ripping down a sign isn't going to help you. It's not going to help Donald Trump. It's just going to hurt him. It's going to make him hate him more. Leave it up. It's not a threat. Do you know how many times I saw people put up Brandon or take down Brandon Michon signs when I was helping Brandon? And I'm like, what are you doing? You're not helping anybody. Those signs mean nothing. Nobody cares. People see the D and the R, and that's good enough for 90% of the people. A campaign sign does nothing. I've got one up behind me here. But what is it? Is it going to change your mind? Are you going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm voting for Trump? Is some liberal going to come on here and be like, oh, that guy's got a Trump sign. Now I'm in. I wasn't in before, but I'm in now. It doesn't really change anything. Really, it's for you. I have a Trump flag out on my pole, 30-foot pole. It's out there. Why? It's for me. It's to let all the liberals know, stay off my property. I'm a Trump fan and go, bugger off. But anyway, so when I find misinformation, I want to combat it. So we're going to go and talk about the Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, Benny Johnson, who I went after a little bit last night. I'm going to fervently defend him tonight. Because if I'm nothing but I'm nothing but consistent in my inconsistencies. Because it's not every topic. I don't have to defend Benny Johnson. Sometimes I can just say I don't like what he does. And then the next time I can defend him. And why can I do that? Because I don't judge people on their action. I judge people on their inaction after they do something wrong. Like if somebody drops the N-bomb, I'm not going to judge them on that. I'm not going to like that. When I hear it, it's going to be shocking like cold water down the back. But I'm going to ask them a question. What do you get from dropping that word? What are you trying to convey that you can't convey in some other form and articulation? And they will say, I can say that word whatever I want, blah, blah, blah. Your inaction defines who you are. Now I can sit there and pass judgment and be like, you know what? I just want to spend time with you anymore. You're kind of a jackass, So I can hit Benny on something and then the next night defend him fervently because I don't dislike Benny. I don't dislike many people. I just tell you the truth. And if you say something that I don't like, I'm going to tell you. And your action or inaction is going to define what type of relationship we have. Perfect example is Karen Eschenbach. Bach? I don't remember. I'm not making fun. I think it's Bach. Is just like the show. Well, last night we kind of had a falling out. And we were sending each other messages, and it wasn't necessarily good or bad. I don't know what it was. I told her how I feel. I apologize for overreacting with some of the words that I said, but the feeling and the sentiment are still there that I absolutely didn't appreciate something. She told me she didn't appreciate my junior high attitude, and now she's watching the show. So I'm sure we'll find a way to move forward. It happens a lot on this show because we interact with our audience. But her action defines how I react to her. She said, I don't like this. I don't appreciate it. Okay, fine. I don't appreciate what you did. And then we, without using the common fallback for most people is inaction, is simply just allowing that to fester and stew, which usually will erode a relationship. We decided to engage. And either that will prove to be fatal or will rejuvenate whatever we had. Simple. Same thing with Benny. I may be upset with him last night, but it doesn't mean that I can't defend him when people call him a Russian spy. Give me a break. Really? Benny Johnson, a Russian spy? He's a lot of things. He's not a Russian. And I put it on his side. I'm like, this is BS, and I spelled it out. I said, you're a lot of things, Benny, but you're not a Russian spy. Yeah, Thomas, I really haven't had a chance to dive in. I dove into the Prosperity Group. I dove into the Japanese and Nuremberg trials. I have not jumped into the Jesse Jackson thing. I cannot find anywhere that Donald Trump bankrolled Jesse Jackson's campaign. I found that he donated to him. I know that for sure. I know that he endorsed him, but he didn't bankroll Jesse Jackson's campaign. So I don't know where that's coming from. But anyway. And we're gonna go into this thing tonight, and we're gonna talk about this because I think it's important. So here's the first thing: the misnomers and the lies and the things that aren't true. Somebody came on my page today, and Amy had a chance to see it, and they said Donald Trump played this. Oh, we got a call. What's going on, caller? Where are you from?
With Benny, and he said he doesn't know you at all. He has no idea who you are.
Come on, man. How many times are you gonna call in? You're just gonna be you. Come on. What did you want? You want to say something? Say something legit. You don't know Benny.
I legitimately do. Talk to me off.
You don't know. You don't know betting.
I have his cell phone number. How would I have his cell phone number if I don't know?
You don't have his cell phone number.
I promise you I do. Send me a DM and I'll send it to you. I promise you I have it.
You're going to give your friend's phone number, huh? That's the type of friend you are.
With
friends like you, who's enemy?
Number? You're talking like you're his friend.
Never said I was his friend. I said I have an opinion on what's going on. You don't get to have an opinion. You have an opinion on me, don't you? Are you my friend? Are you my friend?
Talking to him.
You have an opinion on me. Are you my friend?
He doesn't know you. He doesn't
know you. Are you my friend?
You're just a guy. You're not in
Are
his
you my
ballpark.
friend? Well, who are you? Who are you to call me? You're not even on my ballpark. You're not even in the same sport. Who are you? I mean, go ahead, lay it out. Who are you, buddy?
I'm a friend of Benny, okay?
You're not a friend of anybody's. You're the guy that calls in all the time and you pretend to be somebody when you're nobody. You're a nobody. You don't even have the balls to give me your name, your real name. You've called in 100 times. Give me your real name. Why don't you come on camera and show your face? Because you're a fucking...
on camera numerous times.
You're a coward every time.
But you said, why don't I come on camera? But I have before.
I don't remember you. That's how immaterial you are to my life.
But I've come on like 10 different times.
You have not come on. You have not come on 10 times. You've never come on 10 times. No, you haven't. You're a liar.
I've come on 11 times.
No, you haven't. You're a liar. You may have come on audio, but you certainly haven't come on video.
Are you joking right now? I've actually come on video like at least 4 or 5 times on your show.
You just said you came on 11 times. Which one is it? You said 11 times. Which one is it? 11 times or 4 times? Which one?
It's 4 times.
You just said 11, so now you're a liar. And you know Benny, and you've been on 11 times. So you have no credibility either. And we don't know your name.
Do you want my name?
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, what do you call you, buddy? Are you a he, she? What are your pronouns? Will that help?
My pronouns are he, him.
Your groiper vagina needs to heal. How do you feel about Nick Fuentes completely bending you over the table? Are you upset that he went and turned on Trump? Are you mad?
Who do you think I am?
I know who you are. You're a groiper.
This is incredible. Can I be totally honest with you?
You can tell me whatever you want.
Okay. I mean, it's just kind of wild to say that. Like, I'm quite obviously a far left socialist kind of person.
Really? Are you? Are you?
Really funny.
Well, explain to me then why you've called in before and you went ahead and defended Nick Fuentes.
No, you're mixing me up with somebody else. No,
I
wouldn't have done that.
No, then what would you have done? What's your name? What did we talk about?
I called in as numerous characters, different things.
That's right.
I would call in as
I said that
like
in the beginning.
Tech head Terry. I called in.
I said that in the beginning.
One time I had like 11 different people call in and say that there was a little sound happening on your show,
I
made you guys all
absolutely
check
remember.
it.
You're the exact same guy I've been talking about.
Yeah, that's me. But I never.
And you also,
I never called about Nick Fuentes. I've never called anybody about Nick Fuentes. I don't really care about that guy or think about him.
Okay, so you've called in. I went ahead and nailed that you're the guy who's called in and said pretended to be somebody several different times.
I told you that I was. What do you mean?
No, you didn't. That's not what you said at the beginning. You said you've been on 11 times from video. Then you told me you knew Benny Johnson, which was a lie. So you're just playing another part, another character.
Benny Johnson's
Here's the question. Here, what do you want?
Just to like chat about politics and stuff.
You don't want to chat about politics. If you wanted to chat about politics, you would straight up ask a question or at least demonstrate some sort of affable quality.
Who are you voting for in the election?
That's none of your business.
Oh, you don't tell. Yeah, I guess you don't have to. Most of the time, it's interesting. That used to be a big thing in the back in the olden days. That you don't talk about who you voted for. Nowadays, people are kind of outspoken about it. But I kind of like your whole thing of like you don't need to share with everyone who you're voting for. That I kind of prefer it that way as well. I
think it's obvious though. Well, hold on. It's kind of obvious, right? So how about this? How about we do this? Since
I don't even live in America, so it can't be that obvious.
Well, you just said you're a far left socialist.
But they have that stuff in other countries, It's not an American concept.
They do, but most far left socialist countries don't have a voting system. I mean, can you go ahead and tell me which country has an open elected representation, an open voting platform that's a socialist communist country? Can you please tell me one?
No, I'd never said that I live in one. I said that I am. I'm saying like the concept exists outside. So there are individuals.
The concept exists outside, but the voting process doesn't. So
What are you arguing right now?
I'm arguing
confused
that
what
you
you're
just said
arguing
that
about.
other countries go ahead and vote that are leftist socialists,
No, I didn't.
and I'm
I said
disagreeing with
other
you. That's
countries,
exactly what you
I
said.
said the system exists outside of America. I'm saying you seem to believe that because I'm a far left socialist, that means I must be American. Which, by the way, it doesn't
What?
exist in America either. So it doesn't make sense what you're saying at all. But I don't really. I live in Canada. Just to clear things up, I live in Canada.
So great. You live in Canada, and your name is
Correct.
what again?
My name is David.
David. Is that for real this time, or is this another fake
For real. That's for real. My name, 100%.
Okay.
I'm not going to give you
So
my
you-
last name because that's
So
it's,
you've
it's
been
like
watching-
a unique enough last name that you could
It's
look
fine.
it up. You know?
I'm not going to look it up. I don't care. I'm not.
No, but you know what I
don't-
mean. I'm on a live stream, so it's not like Davis or something. It's like a name where if I gave it, people would be able to find me. So.
And that's fine. And people here aren't like that. So that's the good news. All right. So let's start over.
Melanie Marino kind of feels like Melanie's a little bit being a bit aggressive in the chat, and she kind of feels.
David,
like
I'm pretty
bit
sure
dictative.
in the entire scheme of things that you don't feel very threatened by a woman named Melanie. I think you're going to be.
I don't
fine.
know. I don't know. She could be very, very strong. Nowadays, women are into
She-
bodybuilding and everything.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're going to go up to Canada. All right, so you live in Canada. You asked me who I was voting for, and I said it was none of your business. I didn't mean to sound,
That's
like
okay.
a
No,
dick.
I told you I understood that, and I don't even disagree with that. I don't think it is everyone's business who everyone's
Okay,
voting.
fair enough. So you called it. I remember the Ting thing. I gave you credit. I handled that very well.
That was a good one. Yeah, it was one.
It
of
was
they
fun.
really liked it. I have a channel. They really liked.
I know you
it
do.
on the channel. That one. Yeah,
I know you do,
So
but
they,
we were.
they really enjoyed that one. That was an all-timer. People couldn't believe how well it executed. We never got it to work that well again on anybody.
It was fantastic. And you remember there was a point where we started playing along with you, and then I went ahead and I messaged you, and I thought it was fun. It was a good time. It doesn't nothing wrong with
it's true.
getting.
But you know why I call you? Because I won't call you that much anymore. I stopped doing my channel for a while too, and I'm just back doing it again. But the reason is because you give really funny responses. You know what I mean? You entertain it for a long time, and you like respond to it, and it can be quite entertaining. You know, because I don't want to say like you're a talker. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And you're not?
So like, no, I am. That's why I do what I do. But I'm saying like a lot of people, you call them, and if I did something like this, they just hang up and then they don't care, and it doesn't provide me with any kind of content. Whereas it doesn't matter how obvious it is that it's a prank. It doesn't matter anything. You will just buy into it. You'll just like, you're like a wrestling guy or something. Like you'll just like start doing it no matter what. It's like you can't stop yourself.
Well, or that I'm aware of what you're doing. I mean, you really are going to
because
sit here.
sometimes you aren't. Sometimes you aren't. Sometimes you like say things that make it clear that you actually get tricked. Sometimes you're aware of what's going on, but sometimes
No.
tricked.
I just admitted I got tricked. I got tricked on the Ting thing.
And on the other times as well. That's what I'm saying. So it does make it funny when you get tricked, and then because your reactions are really funny.
Yeah, I'd like you to show me your channel where I got tricked, because I always recognize your voice, because I don't think you've tricked. And sometimes I think that maybe
because it's not always me.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
It's not always me who
Hold
calls.
on a second.
I have other people.
You said I was a wrestling guy, so I don't know whether it means that I'm a jock and you think I'm thick. We're gonna find out what you mean by that. But the thing is there are other times where you have no concept whether I'm aware of what you're doing or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you misjudge my participation as something that I find that people find it entertaining. This show isn't designed to not have people call in and have an opinion. In fact, I appreciate when they do. And honestly, I would love to get your perspective on the United States.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear what you think about Canada. If you're serious,
I am
if you're
serious.
not,
I live in Vancouver. Vancouver is where I live. It's one of the most expensive places in the world. I got a lot of negative things. I'm not a Trudeau fan. I want to be clear. I'm not a fan of Trudeau. But yeah, I like I said, politically, we're not going to see eye to eye on a lot of things. I would say that whenever I speak to, I think that like if I talk to you, if we didn't talk about politics, we would probably like agree on some stuff, you know?
I think that's fair.
And I always find it kind of interesting that, I don't know, it kind of bums me out, to be honest, that you do it less than some of the shows I call, but all the stuff's getting hung up on all of the sort of culture war shit, you know?
Yeah.
It really sort of bums me out when I really feel like working class people, I am one of those, need to, unite in a common goal, and that is to brings a little bit more economic equality to the world, because it's just getting a little outrageous with the like concentration of wealth and power that people have. You know, this is one thing. There's an American a hedge fund that owns the majority of newspapers in Canada. It's a conservative fucking hedge fund in New Jersey, and they bought up all of the newspapers, and they like feed the information to all Canadians. And it's wild to me that like that type of thing can happen, and we just sit back and allow it to happen. And I wish that we would get together on these issues. And I wish that we would be able to see that they're trying to divide us in that way, and it's working. And I wish that it was like, you know, who cares about trans people? You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. No, we got to worry about if you're going to be able to feed your family and pay your mortgage and all of that. That's the stuff that matters, man. Well, wait a second. I just wish I tune into too many of these shows, and I hear too much nonsense like that talking about it, when it's like, why are we not focused on these rich people who are making it basically unlivable for everyone?
See, I'm wondering. See, Canada must be different, because I understand Vancouver being extremely expensive. Why do you feel rich people make your life unfulfilled from an economic standpoint? Why do you?
It's a complicated situation. In Vancouver, it has to do with real estate, but of course, like I don't understand the totality of like economics, but what I do understand is that it is completely unlivable in my city. Well, you know, for example, there's 3 or 4 grocers in Canada who are charging people outrageous amounts for groceries and just capitalizing immensely, stacking billions and billions of dollars, while people in Vancouver can't feed themselves, can't afford to live. My rent is $3,500 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment for my family, you know, and these guys are out here, 80-year-old billionaires, stacking up billions as people suffer and you know can't afford to live. But around here it's real estate developers. That's who I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's
when
happening.
I say the millionaires.
It's happening a lot in the United States too. Don't kid yourself.
Prices everywhere. That's what I'm saying, man. It's everywhere. It is happening everywhere, and we are allowing it to happen. Well, it's just the wealth is getting concentrated in people, and they are not just wealth but power. Democrats as well. Jeff Bezos, you know, he controls so much media. That type of concentration of wealth and power does not benefit anybody. When someone like Elon Musk has the type of influence he does over things, that doesn't benefit anyone other than Elon Musk. You know? Okay.
So no, I don't. So here's
you don't know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't agree with what you're saying. There's a difference.
You don't agree that you think it's good for one individual to control all of the messaging that is going out to a country, some rich guy in New Jersey? You think that is okay and good for a society?
Well, it depends. So let me explain why. Listen, David, if you're going to be hostile and not let me finish,
I mean, no, it's fine. I'll let you say it, but that's just, I mean, you're showing your colors here. If you think that's okay in any way, then you and I are not on the same team.
How do you know? How do you know what my opinion is if you won't let me talk?
Well, you told me what your opinion is, that you disagree that
no,
it's wrong
you went
for
on
Elon Musk to have that type of
you went on a diatribe for 7 minutes, and I said literally 7 words, and you melted the fuck down.
Well, no, you said a few words because you can't get a word in because you get dominated on your own show because you're meek. You're meek.
No. Oh, no. See, David, this is the interesting thing. Showing respect for somebody and trying to be amicable isn't meek.
No, I'm watching you on the video. You're like doing the little thing where you're starting to talk and then you're like sort of going down like somebody's just kind of slapped you down, like daddy slapped you down. You're meek.
No, David.
You don't have what
David,
it takes
I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to.
And you're going to try to do it now. You're going to try to talk over me now, but it ain't going to work because I am an alpha. I'm a true alpha. I don't have to put tattoos on my arm to pretend to be an alpha. I'm a real alpha, my friend. And that's
someone who's afraid to show their face. Somebody who calls my show for 3 years. It sounds like you've got a hard on for me. Is it a
I
crush?
call so many
How many
shows.
how
Are you
many
kidding
times
me?
how many times do you masturbate to me? Seriously, dude. You've 3.5
Yeah,
years. This is an obsession.
I forgot you always get. Forgot you always get sexual. You're really. I forgot about your weird, creepy, sexual, homoerotic
Right, because
stuff that you get into.
tattoos are so weird and so homoerotic. See, the interesting thing,
the
David,
homoerotic
is
thing
you're
is
you're not
the
you're
sexual
not
thing.
even allowing. You don't want to have a conversation. What you want to do is that you can't do this yourself. So you want to go ahead and try to break other people down, but you're not here for a conversation. You're here to showboat.
But you understand? I wish
No,
I could
no.
explain to you, but I'm not
You
going
can't.
to. But I
You
wish I
can
could
explain.
explain to you. I have a.
You
I have
you
a
don't
show
have.
that's
You
so
just
much more
ultimately
successful
said
than
you don't
your show.
understand economics.
It's not even close.
You said no.
It's
You know
not
what?
close,
You keep saying that. You keep saying that, but you never show up. You never show up. Show your show. What's your show? Link it.
I'm not going to because
You're a coward.
Because
You're a coward. Yeah, you do, and you know Benny Johnson, and you understand economics, but you're a leftist socialist, dude. You're a putz. You're a putz. And if you were here, you wouldn't say any of that to my face because you know what would fucking happen. You're just
I could beat the shit out of you.
No, you're a beta. You're a fucking beta.
You
You're a beta. You don't even have the confidence to show your picture. You're afraid to give your last name. You're afraid to give your last name. You're a coward.
I'll give you.
You've never done anything.
Anytime, buddy.
You're upset. You just said you wouldn't. You said you were afraid of a girl. You fucking alpha. You're afraid of a girl.
In 1 second.
Oh, I know you would. I know you would because you played Call of Duty. You played Call of Duty.
I would beat you up with one punch, man. I bet you're 5'6".
You think so?
Yep.
Okay. So you know, Benny, you're on about that. You said you called and were on video 11 times. You lied about that. You said you didn't understand economics and you're a leftist socialist, so you're just a fucking idiot. And now you want to go ahead and worry about my height. Would you like to go ahead and have me unzip and flop it on the table too, or are you that emasculated where you don't need to do that? You're not a fucking alpha, bro. You don't have anything.
You're 5'6". You're 5'6", aren't you? Did I hit it exactly?
Yeah, you're off about 10 inches, but that's okay.
You're trying to say that you're 6'4"? I mean, buddy, anyone can see you sitting down right now can tell you're not 6'4". You understand?
That's fine. How tall is Ollie North? You remember Ollie North? Do you know who he is?
You're 5. Are you 5'6"?
No, it's a question. It's a
Be
question.
honest with everyone who's watching.
Do you know who
5'6"?
Ollie North is?
Be
Do you know who Ollie North is? Do you know?
Of course.
Are you just
but Matt,
really? What was his rank in the military? What was his rank in the Marine Corps?
He was a private.
You're an idiot. You're a fucking idiot. You're just an idiot.
Are you 5'6" or not?
You're just an idiot.
Stand up right now. Stand up right now. If you're not 5'6", stand up right now.
Why do you want me to stand? I'm not wearing any underwear. Is it?
No. No. I'm. Come on.
I'm not wearing any pants.
Yeah, come on.
I'm not going to stand up. I'm not wearing any pants. How about I show you a photo? Will that be acceptable?
Buddy, everyone, why won't he stand up? Watch him on the show right now and wonder, why will he not stand up? He's wearing underwear. That's a lie. He knows when he stands up, you'll see just how short he is. That's why he doesn't do it.
So you don't want to have a conversation. You just want to fuck around.
I want you to stand up and show everyone how tall you are.
I want you to come on camera. You do that. You come on camera and I'll stand up. Come on camera.
You want me to come on camera right now?
Yeah, right now. Since you have such a huge channel and all, and you're so popular. Yeah.
What does that have to do with coming on camera?
Well, because you're a fucking habitual liar. I've already caught you in like 6 lies. You think you're winning.
I mean, I caught you in one lie, and that is
which
when
one?
you said you're not 5'6".
I'm not 5'6".
5'6", and we found out that's a lie.
Not 5'6". No, not 5'6". Sorry, buddy.
Are you 5'5"?
Yes. And 5'6", and 5'7", and 5'8", all the way up to 6'4". So I'm all of that. Yeah.
Hey, Karen, I've showed my face 11 times on
no,
the
you
stream
haven't.
Before. So
yeah, he's done. This guy's just a fucking yo-yo.
11 times I've showed it.
You wonder why you get hung up on. It's not because you bother people. It's just you don't have anything to say.
You talked to me for 19 minutes. This is
I'll
not a
talk to you for.
I'll
talk to you for 25.
For 19 minutes.
I'll hold you for an hour. It doesn't matter because I would love to have you actually say something. And that's why I said to you, why don't you just say something for once?
No,
you didn't.
We had an actual meaningful conversation.
No. You went ahead and said you're a leftist socialist who lives in fucking Canada and you're complaining because you're poor. You're fucking poor. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. I can't afford rent, and me and my family fucking $3,500. I'm 35. Can't afford $3,500. Where do I gonna live? Get a fucking job, dude. Why don't you have a skill set that pays you? Why don't you actually contribute to society instead of trying to fucking redistribute wealth, you cunt?
You're a live streamer.
I'm gonna make more money than you. I can afford $3,500 a month. You can't, putz.
I guarantee you don't.
You're a
make more money
cunt.
than me, but
You're
that's
a
aside
cunt.
from the point.
And
I
you
mean,
know
I
what?
guarantee
I'm
you
a
don't.
capitalist because I don't sit around and bitch and complain that nobody's taking care of me and handing out money. I actually
Your
go and
September
work.
goal is $37.50, and so far you have $352. You realize it's on the screen. You can't pretend like you make
You
a lot
realize
of money.
we've been on for 2 nights, right?
You realize you can't lie about how much money you make when it's
You
right in
realize
front
that
of everyone's
every
face.
single person here knows because they're the ones that
How
donate.
are you going to
What
pay
do you do?
$3,500 a month when you have $37.50 that you're making off of your streaming?
No, that's what you assume that I make. You don't go ahead and ask any other questions.
Oh, so you make way more? Hey, everyone in the chat, listen. He makes way more.
They
than
already
that.
know.
That goal that he's looking for right
They
there,
already
he
know.
actually makes tons of money. He can afford.
They
so
already
much.
know.
It's no pro-
They already
they
know.
that?
Yeah, they do
That's
because
probably
I'm
why
honest.
You never reach your goal, right?
No, reached my goal 5 months in a row. Yeah. Let me ask you a question.
So you guys are
so
paying
is
this
your
goal
wife,
for him when he
does
doesn't
your,
really need
so,
the money.
So
Just
does your wife
remind yourself
when your
of that if
wife
you're a working
rails your
class
boy
person.
when your wife rails her boyfriend when you're not around because you're such a beta? Does it bother you? Do you clean up
Yeah, of
afterwards?
course.
Are you a cuck?
Yeah, of course it bothers me. I would
Yeah.
rather she doesn't do it. But listen, man, I'm
we
curious.
know-
how,
we know
how
why.
are you? How come you're getting these donations if you're making money? Donations are if you're not making money off your streaming. So why are you taking?
How would you
donations
know?
when you're
How would
making
you
money?
know about that being a communist? You just take the wealth that you want.
No,
How would you know
honestly,
that?
I'm serious about
No, no,
this, man. Why are you
and I am,
taking
and I am
donations when you're-
too,
when
and
you
I
have a-
am
when you
too.
already make enough money
How
off
do
your
you
stream?
know
And
what?
so why are you ripping?
What
why are you ripping off your
donations?
audience?
Nobody's
These
going to
working
buy
class
into
people
what
ripping
you're
them- ripping
having
them
to
off.
say, David. If you
Why are you
just
ripping them
continue,
off, man?
why do you keep throwing a temper tantrum? Why can't you afford a $3,500 mortgage or Why are you in a fucking $3,500 apartment when you can't even afford it? Who the fuck moves into a $3,500 apartment who can't afford it? I mean, how stupid are you? You know you can buy a house, you can get a loan, right?
I didn't say that I can't afford it.
You did say you can't afford it. You said it's too much money. You cried like a little bitch. You said it was too much money. It's too expensive. I can't afford my family. I heard you. You cried like a little girl.
I cried?
You sound like you cried. Your voice cracked a little bit. Just a little bit. For
Buddy,
an
you're
alpha.
5
For an
foot
alpha.
6, and you're talking this way. A 5'6" guy talking
Dude,
this way.
you're not even making a dent. You can't even hit me on my soft spots because you don't know where they're at. Show your face, dude. Tell us your channel. Show us how big your channel is.
This is pathetic, man.
Yeah, that's what I
This
thought.
is really sad.
Yeah, everyone's aware of that. They've been listening to you just scramble and try to shift gears and try to get me. You haven't even raised my blood pressure.
This is
You
embarrassing.
haven't even raised my
keep
blood
trying to get
pressure.
me to come on video. Why? Why do you keep trying to get me to
because
come on video?
you're this Adonis, right? You're this blonde-haired, blue-eyed fucking groiper. So come on.
What?
What a coward. What a fucking coward. See you later, kiddo. Talk to you in 3 months when you have nothing else to do. All right. Hey, it's Matt from the Dumb Show. What do you want to talk about? Hello. Okay. Bye. All right. Woo. Talk about small peen energy. How long was that? Yeah. Good little frick. We haven't had one of those in a while. I miss those. I really do. They're fun. There's nothing wrong with having somebody call in and say they're a far left socialist. So this guy has, let's see, he says he's a comedian. This guy said that he was a groiper. You're on the Donut Friendly Show. Go ahead. Hey,
Tom Griffiths.
what's up, Tommy? What do you want to talk about, buddy?
Who's that? Oh, sorry. I got to turn off your show. Hold on.
You're okay, bud. Go ahead.
There we go. All right. Who's that fake Canadian there? He doesn't represent me.
Well,
He's a socialist because he lives in a left-wing nut job province. You're full of left-wing nut jobs out west in BC, in Vancouver. They act like their shit don't stink. Be a real man, buddy.
Listen.
Show your face.
I wish he would just. I just wish he would have something to say other
shut
than.
Your hole. Stop being a little bitch. Shut your hole. He dominates you. You know that. Come on.
What are you talking about, man?
Be a man.
What the
Come
fuck
on,
are you?
David. Be a man.
Thomas, are you talking to me or are you talking to somebody else, buddy?
talking to David, whoever his freaking name is.
David's not on the phone, dude. But
Did he run away on you? Oh, what a little coward.
He is a coward. But the thing, listen, Thomas, it doesn't matter. Don't let a guy like that get you right. He's been calling for 3.5 years. This guy probably is one of my biggest fans, which is exciting. So the haters.
Well, this is my first time calling you, Matt.
I appreciate it, buddy.
And,
I do.
That guy does not represent Canada at all. Like, you got Mike in there, and he keeps calling us communists. We're not communists either. We're just as conservative and liberal as you guys.
Mm-hmm.
We just have a different system. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
I listen, I love it when he calls in. It's on occasion. I was in the mood to have him on. So listen, hey, man, I'm going to get back to the show, Thomas. I love you, man. Appreciate you. Thanks for calling in.
Okay.
All right, buddy.
Care,
See ya. All right. So this guy, let's see. He's called in. He said he was a comedian. Called in and he posed as a groiper one time. He did the ping thing where he had, and this was actually good. If you guys haven't seen that episode, it's quite funny. I bought it hook, line, and sinker because we were having audio problems. And he calls in. He's like, every time you're talking, I hear this ping, and I bought into it. There's no doubt. I fell for it completely. But this is a perfect example. Here it is that the haters watch more than the people who actually like the show. And this guy has been watching me for years. And he likes to call in and pretend he wants to have a conversation. And then when he knows that the conversation isn't going to go his way, he starts crying. He starts making fun of people and everything else. This is a sign of an insecure person who's emasculated. It comes down to having parents that didn't love him. It comes out to having a wife that doesn't respect him. And he tries to pretend he's an alpha. And this is what he does. He also isn't a socialist. He isn't a leftist. He doesn't know anything about the economy. He hasn't been on the show 11 times. And this is what they do. This is what the left does. They don't have anything else. So it was good to have him on. Let's move on. And that would be fun. No, that was Thomas. It was Thomas Griffiths. Amy, that's not the same caller. Yeah. I love how he's like, I've got Benny's phone number. Sure you do. Sure you do. I'm trying to figure out what we were going to. Oh, I remember. So let's do the 10 things for Donald Trump. When somebody said today, well, Donald Trump did a video and he's talking about small business and he's bankrupted himself 6 times. Okay. First of all, Donald Trump has never filed for complete bankruptcy. It's a lie. Hasn't happened. Number 2, he has filed 6 businesses bankrupt. Fair? Fair enough. Good. The other thing is that he has had 250 businesses attached to his name. 250 businesses. So declared bankruptcy 6 times out of 250. So let's listen when he applies Elon Musk, the guy that the jealous guy who can't afford his rent and his wife's about to leave him. Elon Musk getting assigned by Donald Trump to a position in his administration. Listen to this.
Fourth, at the suggestion of Elon Musk, who has given me his complete and total endorsement. That's nice. He's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. It's very, very much appreciated. I will create a government efficiency commission tasked with conducting a complete financial and performance audit of the entire federal government and making recommendations for drastic reforms. We need to do it. Can't go on the way we are now. And Elon, because he's not very busy, has agreed to head that task force. Be interesting. If he has the time, that'd be a good one to do it. Fourth, at the suggestion of
So people
Elon
are
Musk,
saying you're giving Donald Trump credit for the economy. And
Adjusting transmitter output.
That's why I have a second scene. Hold on a second.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts.
So that's why I built that second scene. I went and redid my scenes
And I completely spaced out why I have that. Hold on a second.
Adjusting transmitter output.
Okay, so that won't happen again. So I went ahead and decided to take the odds of 250 businesses and then take 6 bankruptcies. And what would that look like in the real world? This will be an economic lesson for David, since he doesn't understand economics, but he's a communist socialist. How about a baseball player hitting nearly every time they're up to bat, missing 6 out of 250 pitches? That would be a 967 average. I think that's pretty good. I've 0.976 average. I think that's pretty damn good. What about a surgeon? Only 6 surgeries out of 250 are not going as planned. If a student took 250 exams and only stumbled on 6 of them, they'd be at the top of their class. Consider an airline, 244 out of 250 flawless landings and safety checks. Imagine a restaurant with only 6 bad reviews out of 250. It'd be a culinary hotspot, 5-star dining. In the automotive world, producing 244 defect-free cars out of 250. 97.6%. It would be the most successful car company ever in history by far. What about fitness? 244 out of 250 days planned to work out. What if you did that? What would happen? How much would your life change? What about a politician winning 244 out of 250 voting districts? Imagine that. Oh yeah, David's not on the phone. David's gone. David, he got his fill. He's spent. He's like, I got you on the phone for 23 minutes. So he gets to go and manually gratify himself with his tears. An investor who sees positive returns on 244 to 250 stocks would be considered an expert. And lastly, air traffic controller managing the safe landing of 244 to 250 planes. That's not very good. You got to have a 100%. That's a lot of issues. When you haven't had a major plane crash in something like since like 2010, 2011, you got to be better than that, considering that there's at any given time 4,000 flights up in the air. So that's not good odds, but the rest is. So it's pretty simple to assume and understand that Donald Trump has had some business failure and has had monumental business success. So to restructure a business with bankruptcy, it happens. And there are investments that don't work out. But to sit here and say that Donald Trump isn't a good businessman simply because he's failed 6 out of 250 times, I'm going to go ahead and take those odds. So I'm okay with that. Donation received by Kevin. Appreciate it. Yeah, folks, because, I think it's important, once again, to disclose for anyone who's listening. I think every single person here knows that there are other forms of revenue and income that come into this channel outside of donations. We fill that gap with donations where Facebook has decided to deplatform and demonetize. We didn't ask for donations for 3.5 years. And since David watches us every night, he knows this. And we've been very open with where we're at. So do we make other forms of income? Sure. Livy has a job. I've got money coming in from multiple sources, from Wimkin, from clothing line, from other areas of advertising on podcasts, Rumble and YouTube and other places. But when we lost almost 90% of our revenue from Facebook, we had to start asking for donations, and we will continue to do that. And you have been more than receptive to help us out, so we appreciate it. So just thought I would go ahead and clarify that once again for the people in the back. So going after Donald Trump because of his bankruptcies is a ridiculous thing. Want to show you guys, I think a lot of you have seen this video. This was sent to me, and I'm not going to play the whole thing because I really don't have a desire to do that, because I don't want to play something that isn't accurate and isn't true. And I got this. 1 second, I'm looking it up. from a viewer, and I can't find it now because I do not know where it went, but that's okay. I got the screenshots of it. So you guys may have seen this video of this lady, and I believe her name is Alicia, and she's in a wheelchair, and she does not have... Thank you, Krista. Krista, I haven't seen you here a lot, so thank you for saying that. It's very nice of you. Appreciate you very, very much. Means a great deal for you to say that. So this lady, Alicia, came out in a wheelchair, and she made an accusation that Kamala Harris had hit her in 2011 in a hit and run and paralyzed her and covered it up. And there's plenty of podcasters and social media people going over this and diving into it immensely right now. And they are trying to malign Kamala Harris with something nefarious and terrible. And I think there's enough there in Kamala Harris's past to do that with her policies and do that with her platform and her beliefs. And it's not true. And to the best of my knowledge, it's not true. And I'm going to give you the reasons why. And this is where we have to be careful. I'm going to go ahead and get the video.
Home. A car driving the wrong way.
So I'm going to show some of it. And because I think it's important, but I want to make a disclosure real quick before we dive into this, is that in this video, from top to bottom, I don't believe it's accurate in any way, shape, or form. The young lady very well may be paralyzed, and I'm pretty sure she is. I'm fairly certain that she was paralyzed by a hit and run because she said so. I can't disprove that. But what I can do is find a few things in the story that immediately I can disprove, and we know how I feel about that. The moment that you find one lie, what else are you missing, right? Same thing with Donald Trump. 6 bankruptcies. All right, well, let's look into it. Oh, well, 250 businesses. Okay, you're lying. It's not that Donald Trump's a failure at businesses. He's had 6 restructurings and bankruptcies. Therefore, there's a lie. And now I have all that I need to begin questioning and tearing your story apart. The same things here. And there's multiple things that will discredit this story. And it's very popular right now. We'll watch a little bit of it. I want to let you know that the accusations in here, I believe, are fictitious.
Down a one-way street, headed towards the women crossing the road, and hit one of them. The event was forever imprinted in Alicia's memory. After 13 years, she finally decided to share the shocking details about the accident and its culprit.
Well, it happened on the corner of Post Street and Jones Street. Me and my mom were walking home from a movie theater after watching Pirates of the Caribbean. It was getting late and we hurried home because my mom had to wake up early for her work. As I remember, we were crossing the road and out of nowhere a car came out from behind a parked van. We were not expecting this because there is only one-way traffic on Post Street. So we were not expecting anyone to drive from that direction. The car was rushing in the opposite lane and my mom reacted quickly and jumped back. She tugged my arm, but she was too late to save me. And the driver also hit the brakes, but it was also too late. I was just hit in the side and thrown into the road. I fell the curb and it hit my back. And I remember I was laying on the side of the road watching the woman who hit me. And of course, back then, I didn't know that is Kamala Harris, California Attorney General. At that moment, I just saw a frightened stranger woman, and I was laying and looking at her, and she was sitting on the wheel looking back at me. I heard my mother screaming, and then the woman turned away from me. She started her
For the rest of her days. Impact. Alicia suffered injuries to her pelvis, ribs, and spine. Over the next 3 months, the girl had to undergo 11 surgeries. Despite the best efforts of the
devastated
6 to 2004.
Okay. So there's so much there. Olivia is going to be entering the tips, I think. Are you doing it? I didn't know. Could you catch us up, please? I'm way behind. I know, but catch us up. Thank you. Awesome. It's fine. Just catch us up. That'd be awesome. Thanks. So let's break it apart. There's a few things that you can look up yourself too. Is this actual news station, KBSF San Francisco News? It doesn't exist. There's no such station. And in fact, the station itself, if you take a look at web domain registry for this station and the website that it's pushing traffic to, creation date of domain is 8/2024, which was last month. And that's only like 15 days ago. So you can see the call letters, kbssf.tv.com. And you can get this from a Who Is search. You just go to Google and type in Who Is. So something that was created just last month and pushing this story, immediately alarm bells are going off, right? So I've already caught them in one lie, is the KBSF San Francisco, it is not a true station. And the call letters that are on the video, we know that that's fake. So if that's fake, what else is fake? Well, also, what is fake is, if you take a look at this image right here, you can do reverse Google search images to find this information. There's several apps that will do it. But if you look, there's the post. This is actually from a USA Today article, and this is a picture in Guam. It has nothing to do with San Francisco, and it was from 2018. So that's 7 years before the accusation, or after the accusations of the hit and run. Then you can go into the images of the hip bone and looking at the injuries. And in the video, she talks about getting hit on her left side, but these are right sides. These aren't transposed. She'd be laying down, not stomach. So it's the right side of her body. And these are patient photos from another hospital of a 12-year-old. So if you look, the cervix area, the hip bones haven't, through the normal maturation process of puberty, are not indicative of what a full-grown female would look like. So those are fake. Thank you, Kimberly. Appreciate you very, very much. Thanks for helping out. Always appreciate it. Thank you. Then the next photo. This shows a rib cage of which is not proportionate to the hip injuries of a full adult female because of the chest cavity separation in the ribs, which are overdeveloped as an adult would be. So this is a fake image. So Deb Beebs of Howie. Okay, 1080. I don't know who that is. Thank you for donating, whoever that would be. So it's fake. And we're in a situation where all of us have to stop. Thank you, Frankie. Appreciate you, Frank Wood. You're the best. You guys are helping out. Really appreciate you tonight. Thank you so much. Means a lot, especially when you get a phone call like that and you get just a douche plow. It's really hard not to cuss. I tried not to. I tried to be the nice guy. I would rather just dig into people like that. Like I've done a million times. trying to be good. I'm trying to be a better person. God, I hate it. I really do. Just need to take the shackles off and just, oh. Anyway, so now that we have this, I want you guys to ask yourself a question. Who's doing this? And does it bother you? Does it get you upset? And to me, it frustrates the shit out of me. I can't stand it because I got this from somebody and I can't remember who, and it might have been Amy or somebody else, and just said, Matt, did you see this? And I watched it and I was like, oh my God. And then I just started seeing little things that didn't add up. The rib cage is what did it for me. And because how do I know this? Is because I actually studied x-rays because I had to get radiographs like once a month. I had 13 different surgeries on my back. So I would like look at my x-rays with the doctor. I also did it with my teeth too. So I started learning little things, chest cavity size, rib separation. He started showing me other types of film to be able to identify the difference between a woman's skeletal structure and a man's. Understanding, the orbital bone and the radial bone in the wrist, and looking, at the orbital bone in the eye, and just learning all these type of things. Learning that the skull has no nose; it's like a skeleton, obviously empty, and this is all cartilage, and it's a direct route to the brain, and just great stuff that I learned from just going through a lot of surgeries. And So it didn't play well with me when I first saw it. So it should bother people because there's somebody who's trying to lie to you. There's somebody who's trying to destroy somebody's life. Now I don't like Kamala Harris, but this is just as bad as going after Donald Trump and accusing him of things he didn't do. This is just as bad as taking a shot. I don't want any of these things to happen to anybody. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense. So 2011, you're like, Kamala Harris hit a girl. And people are going to say this and people are going to be like, dude, you're wrong. Makes no sense. Yeah, Amy did. She forwarded it from a viewer. Thanks, Amy. I don't remember who it was, though. But either way. Mark says, I'll have to go back and watch the call. I'm guessing someone leaned into you being off-putting and not a fine. No, just a guy who's been calling it for 3.5 years. And I make the stupid mistake of trying to reach people, even if they're idiots. And, it is what it is. It is what it is. So it's just, stupid, childish stuff, just dumb. But it is what it is. Anyway, so to me, I think this should upset you because these are right-leaning media outlets that are sharing this story, and it's bunk. Now, I also looked up police reports from the time. There was no hit-and-run accident where that person said it was at. Kamala Harris was not involved. Now, she's a prosecutor. Could she have got it written? Okay, that's fairy tale, right? Now that you begging what's known as begging the question, the story is falling apart and you're trying to hold on to any thread to keep it together. So it's wrong, folks. It's just absolutely wrong. It's just as bad as Donald Trump saying he can't run businesses and he bankrupts all the time. It's wrong. So you got to check things. You got to slow down. You got to make sure that it's not happening, that people aren't lying to you and taking advantage of you. And this is a perfect example of what took place with Tenet Media. Now, I've written it up over on the DUM News if you haven't had a chance to see it, and did an article on this. And you need to read it because it's about Tim Pool. It's about Benny Johnson. It's about Dave Rubin. And the question is, were our favorite content creators secretly funded by Russia? And the answer is yes. But there's so much more to it than that. Because Tenet Media, which is out of Tennessee, essentially is kind of like a publisher slash producer that brings and hires content creators underneath their brand, very similar to Spreely or very similar to Wimkin or any of the others. And RT, which was a Russian site, which I knew very well. I actually had it on my favorites because I always love to go on there and read about the bioweapon labs, and all that crap, and compare 1998 propaganda from KGB and counterintelligence out of Russia, and compare the two of how Syria is no longer named, but now it's Ukraine, and the things that Russia has done, these stories that they put out that ultimately are all disinformation. And all they do is just change the name of the players. So Benny Johnson, Tim Pool, and Dave Rubin have been accused by a lot of people on the left right now. Thank you, Thomas. We appreciate you, buddy. A lot of people on the left that they are Russian assets. Now, I want to be very, very clear. This was not leaked. Benny and Tim and a couple others posted that it was leaked. It was unsealed. And I guess it depends. If I was on the other end of this and there was an indictment coming down and my names were associated with this and I wasn't protected and I was unmasked when I did nothing wrong, I would say it was leaked. And here's why. Because they put Tenet Media, 6 social media influencers. Well, they have 6 social media influencers. That's the problem. So it's not really hard. And now if they had 500 social media influencers, but you got David Rubin, Taylor Hanson, Lauren Southern, and Matt Christensen, Tim Pool, and Benny Johnson. That's the 6. Jeanette, don't be embarrassed. We all get that. We all get tricked. The thing is now you know. Now you know. And that's what this show's about, and that's why this show isn't popular, because it's not. I mean, let's just face it. This show is not popular. The news articles are hugely popular. The memes are popular. The trash talk and stuff is fun. And the recorded shows used to be immensely popular, but Facebook has just completely cut us apart. And it's not where it was, but it's good enough for me. It's okay for me. Can you imagine with the people that we have here? It's kind of funny when David came on and mentioned donations. We've got like 150 to 250 people who watch the show every night. Can you imagine if we had 2,000, 3,000, 4,000? What people would do? So to me, I'll take my crew. I'll take my team. The good and the bad and the ugly. We might step on each other's toes. We might frustrate each other. We might get pissed off one night or whatever, say something stupid. But I'll take this team. I really will, because you guys have just done so much for my family, and we appreciate every minute of it. That's why we work so hard for you. We really do. Benny Johnson came out. His comment, a statement on the leaked DOJ indictment. Like I said, even though it wasn't leaked, it was essentially, it was just released. The verbiage inside the document is influencer 1 or podcaster 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it says Tenet Media. It was just an absolute crap job of protecting and ensuring that these guys had anonymity. They could have said publishing umbrella company with 6 major influencers in the business. They could have said that. And they didn't. So the DOJ obviously was not interested in protecting these guys' anonymity. Benny Johnson came out and denied it. Ultimately said, a year ago, a media startup pitched my company to provide content as independent contractor. Our lawyers negotiated a standard arm's length deal, which was later terminated. We are disturbed by the allegations in today's indictment, which makes clear that myself and other influencers were victims in this alleged scheme. My lawyers will handle anyone who states otherwise. Pretty cut and dry. Pretty cut and dry. Sorry, I'm looking. I always like to see who's interacting with the show. So here's my take on this thing, and I want to be really honest. Is that, and I've said it 100 times. I don't know why this is some big thing from the caller. I don't know Benny Johnson. I've never even met him. I don't know Dave Rubin. Tim Pool, no idea. I know he lives like 3 miles away from me. But I'm nobody in this game. I'm not. I'm fine with that. This gives me something I can do and love, and I enjoy. And I don't have to go work in the corporate world anymore. I love this. And if this is something that I'm doing 10 years from now, I don't know. I hope so. But I'm not a player in this game. I mean, I will tell you, we are in the top 2% of all podcasts on Facebook. I can tell you we're in the top 5% of all video podcasts on Spotify. I can tell you that our podcast for news got ranked as up to 16 and on average has been ranked 42 in the world. That's pretty good. We've made a living at it. We're doing pretty well. You guys are helping out and making sure that we can stay on the air and keep affording to do what we're doing. I'm happy. If I make $1 million, great. If I don't, okay. I've had money. I've done that. I did that for 25 years in the retail industry, and I did well. I've got nothing to prove to anyone because there will always be somebody better. There's always the bigger guy around the block. I learned that a long time ago. There's always somebody tougher. There's always somebody richer. There's always someone smarter. So I've said this, comparison is the stealer of joy. It really is. It's the stealer of joy. And I don't do it. I don't compare myself to Benny Johnson because I can't. Because Benny and I are not anything alike. Our set looks similar, but his presentation style is very amicable and happy and fun and shocking and clickbaity. And Tim Pool and I have more in common than Benny Johnson. Dave Rubin and I, when I do my recorded shows, are nothing alike. But Tim gets very stoic and very serious. And I do at times as well. But I don't know any of those guys. And the funny thing is nobody knew them 10 years ago. And to me, it doesn't matter because I will take the things that we have done well, which are many things in 3.5 years, the accuracy, the integrity that we have. I will put that against anyone, including Benny Johnson, including Tim Pool and Dave Rubin and anyone else in the game, because we are consistently right. This team has made a lot of predictive analysis and it has come true. You guys remember the Baltimore bridge and the vessel, how we broke that down? Where's all the investigations of China controlling that and running it? And it was we picked that thing apart and we covered that thing. We covered the bioweapon labs BS. We covered the election and nailed 2022. We nailed 2020. So we're happy where we're at. This team does a great job. And we will continue to do that. We appreciate you helping us out. But this whole thing about Dave Rubin and Benny Johnson, here's what it comes down to. When you have a producer or a publisher, and we've worked with two, sometimes you got to cut your teeth a little bit to find out the truth. And it's been for 4, 3.5. We're going to hit 4 in October 3rd. We will be at 4 years. So 4 years. Hold on a second. Tuner says, Matt, you'll never be a player in this game unless you give the masses what they actually want, drama and fake news. You need to make the big story to gain the view in the masses, and I'll never do it. I'll never do it. No one will ever pay me to lie. No one will ever. I don't plant stories. I don't know. You don't influence. No one has control over the show. No one has editorial control. And this is why we don't We're not a right show. We're not a left show. We are predominantly constitutionally focused, law, and uncovering what really is happening and what's not. And people don't like that I call out Trump sometimes. People don't like that I call out Biden. People don't like that I call out Kamala. And some people do. And it's not popular. You don't make a lot of friends when you challenge your friends to think differently. So, good or bad, it is what it is. So it's hard to tell when you have an umbrella company who produces for your show. There will be certain things that they want to cover that are hot buttons, and their marketing team will identify what's trending and then say, hey, you need to hit on this. And then the overall position will be, very rarely is Benny, Tim Pool, or Dave Rubin setting the narrative. Usually it's regurgitated from Fox or from a senator or a legislator or another influencer. And I'm not saying that Tim Pool and Benny haven't broken stuff and Dave Rubin. That's not what I'm saying. They have absolutely broken things wide open. What I'm saying is that they kind of get their marching orders from their umbrella company. And if this company was taking money from RT, which is a Russian tabloid, I mean, that's really what it was. They were just Russian sympathizers. Like everything At War Clandestine got was from RT, and he just pretended that he was in the know. But they all kind of know the laws and boundaries of to stay in their lane. The same thing was on Spreely. It's like I couldn't just start, writing an article going after Trump. I did, but it wasn't popular, and it got a little flack. But they allowed us to say what we wanted. Nobody was controlling editorial composition. Nobody's doing that at Wimkin either. I tell you to go sign up for Wimkin because I use Wimkin and I like Wimkin. And Jason, it took 1.5 years for me to vet him. 1.5 years. Jason will tell you, I was like, no, I'm not coming on. I want to take some time. And I vetted him and I talked to people who knew him and I got opinions from everybody who I talked. And I'm so glad I did because he's an amazing guy. But the point is that just because Tim Pool doesn't like the money going to Ukraine, it doesn't mean he's a Russian asset. You don't have to be binary. It's amazing. The left doesn't want binary in any way, shape, or form except for in your thinking. That's the one thing about the left. They espouse, we want free thinkers. We want free speech. We want people who live in the gray. As far as sexuality, their ideas on abortion, their ideas, either you agree with us or you're castigated from society. That doesn't make much sense, does it? So it's okay for Tim Pool to say, I don't like the war in Ukraine. The left, they were the ones that didn't like Iraq. They are the ones that didn't like Vietnam. They are the ones that didn't like Korea. They're the ones that put flowers and roses or flowers and daisies inside National Guard firearms. They're the hippies, for God's sakes. These are the Woodstock, pot-smoking, sandal-wearing people. They protested every conflict. And now conservatives are saying we don't want war, and they are now on the side of war? How does that make any sense? I mean, seriously, how does that make one damn bit of sense? It doesn't. It just doesn't. So I don't care that. First of all, I've heard Benny's stuff. I've watched. Benny does not promote Russian propaganda. Give me a break. I will defend him till the cows come home on that accusation. Number one. Number two, Dave Rubin. I I've seen him on with Megyn Kelly. No, I don't think he promotes Russian propaganda. Yeah, he talks about civil unrest. He talks about inflation. He talks about all these things. And these are concerns. And in the accusation from the DOJ, a lot of that did say that that a lot of this would seem innocuous, but it was perfectly designed to separate and to push people apart. Whatever. Fine. That's still their right to do it. And just because that takes place, it doesn't mean that they are Russian paid assets. That's not what it means in any way, shape, or form. It simply means that they have an opinion and they disagree with the narrative. And they have every right as Americans to do that. So until there's actual proof and the DOJ comes down and says, you know what? We are going after Tim Pool. We're going after these content creators. Then just shut up. I mean, that's the best way I can say it. Shut up. I would encourage them to not bow down to these people. And honestly, what I'm seeing is Tim Pool isn't. Tim's like, I've learned my lesson. I've learned my lesson. I now support Ukraine and Israel and all the money. We need to give them another $200 billion. And he's trolling them. Listen, I don't need to go ahead and do this, but I'm going to do it anyway because small penis man questioned my height. Ollie North, go look up his height. That's 6 foot. All right, you tell me how tall I am. Now, that looks closer to 6'5". I'm wearing my boots. Wearing a boot. He's wearing cowboy boots. He's probably come down a little bit. Yeah, I'm 5'6". In my shorts. Little socialist dick. So there we go. On a side note, to contradict David, that issue I had with an order I placed on Spreely Marketplace was resolved. Thanks, Matt. If Matt didn't have integrity, as Dave suggested, he could have said it's not my issue, but Matt didn't. He helped me resolve it. Well, Amy, I don't, listen, I don't care what David says. David doesn't know me. And David is obviously very enamored with me. It's obvious. Almost 4 years of stalking me. The guy's in love, and that's fine. I don't mind. I mean, you know, who cares? He doesn't affect me. I didn't like the part about the donations because that impacts you. I didn't like it. It doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and worry about it. And the height thing bothers me too because it's so easy for me to demonstrate. It's so easy just to say, here's a picture, me Ollie North. He's a big dude, and I tower over him. I'm a big guy. And anytime, David, you want to come down from Canada, I'll whoop your pansy fucking Maple Leaf ass anytime you want. I can hear it in your voice. You've been scared your whole life. I know guys like you. I fucked guys like you in prison. Anyway, all right. Sorry for the language. I had to get it out. If I didn't I had to get it out. Just stop it. Don't judge me. Okay? I've been very good for like 2 weeks. I haven't cussed. I've been good. All right. A couple other things before we go. We got a lot to do. CNN just found out that Kamala Harris is a liar. Woe is me. They just found out. They just found out. Here it is.
2017. And what they found tonight, K-File investigates. In a new report, you'll see first out front. The K-File team scoured Kamala Harris's tweets and statements going all the way back to 2017. And what they found was more than 50 instances of Harris slamming Trump's border wall. But now, new Harris campaign ads actually showcase that very wall.
Yeah, Melanie, good job on scaring David. I'm an alpha male. I don't want to give out my name. That girl, she's scary.
State prosecutor, she took on drug cartels and jailed gang members for smuggling weapons and drugs across the border.
And on top of critical tweets, Harris also wrote in her 2019 book, quote, there was a bigger reason to oppose the border wall. A useless wall on the southern border would be nothing more than a symbol, a monument standing in opposition to not just everything I value, but to the fundamental values upon which this country was built. How could I vote to build what would be little more
I was making fun of the Canadian Leaf, not the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's from Vancouver. He's a Canuck. Nobody even knows what a Canuck is. They actually got a good team. They're not going to be too bad this year, but he's a Canuck. Dude, the guy's a leftist social. I'm a leftist socialist. Why don't you just say socialist, jackass? It's kind of redundant. Kind of like saying you're a gay homo. And he is.
designed to...
Okay, I'm potty mouth. You got to stop that. I don't want to turn people off.
Send the cold, hard message, keep out. Well, K-File's Andrew Kaczynski joins me now. So, Andrew, I mean, you all have gone through, scout.
Marky can tell you how tall I am. Tell him, Marky.
An incredible amount of material. Tell me more about what you found.
Yeah, that's right. We found more than 50 of those tweets criticizing the border wall before she used that in her ad. And I want people to take a look at just a few of what she said here. She called it wasteful, useless, a waste of taxpayer money, a vanity wall project, a wasteful border wall, a stupid wall, a medieval vanity project, and an unnecessary wall. And those are really just, there were more of this, just like 10 or like 50. But there was really a lot of this was the common refrain during the campaign. You read that quote where she said it was against everything that not only she stood for, everything America stood for, but and she brought this up a lot. Take a listen to just one instance of that in 2019.
It's the president's vanity project.
His multi-billion-dollar vanity project called a wall is nothing more than a distraction from the fact that he actually hasn't focused on working people in America. He contrived a national crisis around his big distraction.
All right, so you go through all...
Ronnie, I don't get more viewers with the foul mouth. I don't. Trust me. Thursday nights are slow. They're always slow. Fridays, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays are hopping. We always have 150 plus. It's just slow tonight. Plus, it was Labor Day weekend, and that kind of plays with some things. It's just a weird time. That's all. No big deal. I don't care. I'm done watching my viewer count because I know Facebook lies. I will come in and I will have 1,300 comments. There's no way 100 people. That's 10 per person. Give me a break. No way. I know there's more people in here than 110 on Facebook. I know that for a fact.
Of that, you've got all the tweets, and yet all of a sudden in the ads, there's pictures of the wall, and then you went through to look at that wall. Like, what is that specific wall that's in her campaign ads now? And you found something very interesting about this specific portion of the wall.
And I think what's also really remarkable about this is, you heard her talking about it there, Trump's wall in his campaign during his presidency. There was really no greater symbol of Trump's presidency than the wall and the way that Democrats were attacking him over the wall and his restrictive immigration policies. So we looked in that ad, and if you look at it, that exact area of wall is in Sasabe, Arizona, and that is a portion of wall that was actually built by Donald Trump. It was built in an area where there was not previous wall. It was actually pretty controversial when they were building it at the time. So just to see that, and then there are other...
She's using his wall that he built to say, look at what I did, basically.
And the other images of the wall, we weren't able to pin...
I told you. Okay, I'm going to do it. I told you so. I told you. The wheels will come up. People will remember why they don't like her. The press never liked her in 2020. They thought she was a socialist. Mark Cuban came out against her today. Mark effing Cuban. And said that her capital gains... essentially it's assumed capital gains tax. It'll basically hit people for what their paper worth is. It doesn't look at their accrual. It doesn't look at their investment. It doesn't look at their bottom line. It doesn't look at their overall revenue sheet. It's their assessed value.
Point, but there's
so if someone has a lot of money in real estate and they're not cash liquid, they're going to get taxed on that. Everyone's saying it's an abysmal failure. His entire policies are leftist socialists, like David, the putz. It's no good. And I told you, they're going to remember why they don't like her. And you're going to hear more of this. CNN doesn't like Kamala Harris. MSNBC, nobody likes Kamala Harris. And this honeymoon period is over. And now she's going to be exposed. Wait till the debate. You think that's going to go well? I mean, do you actually believe that there's an opportunity for it to go well? When she talks, she's going to get crushed. Here's one more thing on Kamala Harris. If you weren't scared enough already, listen to this crap.
And will put the Department of Justice of the United States back in the business of justice. We will double the Civil Rights Division and direct law enforcement to counter this extremism. We will hold social media.
This is Matt. Who's calling?
Kevin.
Kevin, what's up, dude?
Another
let me
World War II question.
Hold on. Let me finish this. Let me finish this video real quick, and then you got it.
Via platforms accountable for the hate infiltrating their platforms because they have a responsibility to help fight against this threat to our democracy.
Censor speech.
And if you profit off of hate, if you act as a megaphone for misinformation or cyber warfare, if you don't police your platforms, we are going to hold you accountable as a community.
Uh-oh.
And
well, that just basically says freedom of speech is now on the menu. And let me just go ahead and say this, just to be completely transparent. You can't go after social media creators because you jackholes went ahead and said that they are content providers and not publishers, not actually content creators. They are protected and are not and cannot be held accountable based upon what their users do because they are just publishing. That's your fault. So good luck getting that to fly. Love to see that happen. It's not going to happen. And the second thing is, once again, free speech is on the menu. She's going after it. The last thing she said, if you're out there speaking with a megaphone with hate, does that include her grandmother in India who spread village to village with a megaphone about abortions? Because there's nothing more hateful than ripping a baby out of a womb. Kevin, what do you think? Do you think that she means herself when she says that? Because we just heard that clip last night where she talked about going her grandmother village to village, ripping babies out. Here it is. Listen.
Tough, trailblazing, and phenomenal women. My grandmother would go into villages in India and because she was Indian and lived in India, and she would go to the villages in India. It was a famous story in our family. My grandfather would say she was going to be the end of his career. But my grandmother would go into the villages with a bullhorn, talking with the women about the need to have access to reproductive health care.
She's so full of shit. She's so full of shit. I mean, seriously, Kevin. I mean, come on, buddy.
Ending a life is reproductive health care.
Yeah, it sounds like an oxymoron, doesn't it? Kind of like smoking for cancer. Smoking for cancer. We're going to cure cancer by smoking more. Folks, go out and buy more cigarettes so you can cure cancer. I love it.
I don't know who to be more frustrated with, the people that spout this shit or the people that believe it and listen to it.
I think you can equally despise both. I think it's okay. I think it's okay to despise both, Kev. I really do. Hold on real quick. This is coming up. Somebody donated. We appreciate it. We got a Stripe donation. I don't know who it was, but it's important for me to say thank you. Hold on. Oh, it doesn't tell me on Stripe who it is. It should show up here, though. It'll show up in the app here in a second. So hopefully I'll get a name. Whoever you are, and you tipped the show, thank you. We appreciate you. I'm going to try to find it. Kevin, what do you want to talk about, buddy? Good to have you on the show.
I hate to hang up on World War II, but you do know a lot more than I do. And my question is simple. I was on the understanding that Curtis LeMay was given orders not to use incendiary bombs on some of the major cities in Japan.
Wasn't that
those cities were to be left pristine? Is that true?
I don't know, because the entire thing with Curtis LeMay is very complicated because his involvement with Dresden, and you know what happened in Dresden, Germany, right?
No.
So
he got transferred from Germany.
I know. I'll tell you why. Well, because he murdered tens of thousands of civilians. So let me tell you what happened. Dresden kind of had that. It would be like hitting Beverly Hills or Hollywood. It would be like hitting Rodeo Drive or hitting Orange County. You know,
accidentally.
No. I'm just saying if someone was going to attack us, they probably wouldn't go after like Beverly Hills and Hollywood. That would send a message, right? We are trying to kill your upper elite, and we're trying to scar your country. Dresden was very much a pomp and circumstance, rich. It's where all the elites lived in Germany. And it was kind of this is not a valid target. These are the aristocrats. These are the oligarchs. These are the people who are going to bring Germany back from the end once this war is over. Don't hit these areas. Well, Dresden had a ton of bunkers from World War I built and underneath all the homes. And they would use these for wine cellars and obviously for any type of threat. But like most homes, they had these huge bomb shelters that were erected because they had an ungodly amount of money. Dresden was hit by England, and LeMay was in that process. And he was also
intentionally hit.
Yes. Oh God, yes, intentionally. Okay. I mean, Churchill basically said the gloves are coming off. We're done. We're hitting Dresden, the U.S., we're hitting Dresden. And this was a very controversial thing. This is not something FDR wanted to do. He did not want to escalate. He wasn't looking for this. They went in and they hit Dresden. And basically what happened is when the town of Dresden started getting hit, they all went into these bunkers. And they bombed the living bejesus out of Dresden. I'm talking full throttle. British bombers and American bombers went after this, and it was a joint exercise. And they dropped more bombs in that 24-hour period than I think they had to up and leading to the war. It was some ungodly number. Like, it only was surpassed in World War II by Hiroshima and Nagasaki, is my understanding, for the volume of weaponry that they used. This was a massive attack. Those people all fled and went into these bunkers, and the entire town burned around them. It was a massive fire. And I'm talking like these bomber pilots would talk when they came back and were debriefed, that as far as left and right as they could see on the night horizon, it was nothing but a towering inferno of this entire raid lighting Dresden on fire. And when they went in to document this, and Germans did this, and then obviously in some parts of the town that were under U.S. control at that point, they opened up these bunkers, and it was literally full of black goo, just black goo, and it got so hot, and as you know, like if you take a T-shirt and you put it in a tin can and you make sure the fire doesn't lick the T-shirt, you'll create carbon, and you can get yourself. You can strike a spark on that and will hold it and immediately light like a wick, and it's called char cloth. Well, that's what happens when you apply heat. That's why food burns and doesn't necessarily catch on fire in the oven unless it's extremely hot.
No
and all
oxygen.
the moisture. Right. So it got so hot in here, and flames didn't touch these people, that it melted them, and they basically turned into oil. And that's how bad it was. And they would go into these places and literally basements full of just liquefied human beings, and they killed a ton. And this is a true story. You can go and look this up. You can go watch the History Channel, whatever. But Dresden was like hands down, as far as the U.S. and Russia and England, the biggest travesty. That was pretty big before Nagasaki and Bikini Island. So he was repositioned into the Japanese theater, is my understanding. And as far as his standing order, I don't know. I know the guy. I know him. I got him. I got him in my head. Salt and pepper, portly and chubby, and his Air Force out. I know LeMay, and I know him because of Dresden. But what happened in Japan, I don't know the answer to that question.
You know why I'm asking the question?
No, tell me why.
Okay, if they were ordered not to hit Nagasaki and Hiroshima, those cities would be left pristine. That means they had plans on dropping the bomb long before they did. And they wanted to see the effects of the bomb on a pristine city.
I see what you're saying. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought there was
that's a jump. But
well, listen. I think there's no like mass illusion that FDR was not interested in dropping the bomb, and I believe that he was muscled into it by the Joint Chiefs, and it came down to this, and I believe ultimately what sold FDR to make the final decision was you either kill, slightly under, 750,000 to 500,000 people now, or you're going to lose millions of Japanese, and you're going to encourage Russia and other countries to go in and wipe them out because there will be nothing left. And we will lose hundreds of thousands of Americans, and they'll lose millions of Japanese, and we'll be in a situation that Japan will be a prime spot for Russia to occupy, because they knew that MacArthur wanted to go, and right after World War II, they wanted to hit Russia. You know that. So they wanted to stop going to war with Japan and immediately attack Russia, because they knew what Russia, once they dropped the bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, Russia started moving into Japan and start trying to take territory. They knew what would happen if this war continued, that they would be fighting a two-front war between Russia and Japan. And they had enough of that. They just found out how that felt with Germany and Japan. They didn't want to do it again. So they used the bomb to end the war.
Personally, I agree with the use of the bomb.
Yeah, so do I. I do too.
It reduced casualties.
It sure did.
In the long run, if we had invaded Japan, these people were fanatical. They were not surrendering.
Yeah.
You can imagine invading their homeland? Every man, woman, and child would have been fighting.
Well, you killed 250,000, but that doesn't even include the amount of irradiated people. And I mean, John Wayne, that entire cast did a movie down there, and they all died of cancer. Every single one of them. I mean, this had, yes, the initial explosions from third degree burns to radiation poisoning, radiation sickness. Yeah, you had 250,000 people die, but more than that. I mean, it was 500,000. I mean, let's be honest. This went on for decades of people dying of cancer and abnormalities and birth defects. I mean, bad stuff, dude. I mean, it decimated Japan in 1945.
Somebody said to me that the first one is on us, the second one was on them.
Yeah, that's true.
After the first one, they could have threw the white flag up.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, well, honestly, they're both on Japan. Let's be honest. Japan was done. The rest of the world, Germany was over. Europe was going to enter the war in Japan. Whatever forces were left from Europe that were, and there was sizable amounts. I mean, the United States was just supplying weaponry and vehicles to Europe and guns and ammo and everything else. We were the reason why we won World War II for Europe it's just because of our textile, our plastics, and our overall ability to make more tanks and planes than anyone else could on the planet. We were making 10 to. Yeah. So, if Europe entered Japan was a blip on the map. They were going to go down, and Japan should have surrendered after Germany fell. And the fact that they didn't, and it took till 1945 to drop 2 bombs, is they could have risen the white flag any time and said, you know what, we're done. But they didn't. They were prepared to die. They were prepared. They felt that they had enough landmass and enough naval ships left, and their ground forces were relatively unscathed because they were doing offensive, not defensive attacks. I mean, the mainland we didn't even go to the mainland and storm the mainlands. I mean, yes, we had conflict in Okinawa. Yes, we had conflict on certain parts of Japan. But I'm talking about a full, let's go into Tokyo, let's go to Hokkaido, and go to the mainland of Japan and attack. They still had the Japanese Marines. They had the standing army. They still had planes left for defense. So it's not like Japan was defenseless, and they felt that they could hold out indefinitely because they had against China, who had superior numbers for millennia. So I don't, it comes down to this. Japan was stubborn. They didn't want to stop. And the United States said, you're going to stop. And they got the message the second time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing that I heard, well, I don't know if it was on the History Channel or some documentary, that one of those bombs was designated for Germany. But it was the two bombs they were developed after Germany surrendered.
Because
so they had two bombs to use on Japan.
Yeah, because a lot of that technology that came out wasn't German. Most of that, the ability to split the atom and Oppenheimer and I can't remember the other guy's name. But it doesn't matter. The point is that technology to have that size of a bomb wasn't available. So the war, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, they may have been early testing. I'd have to look at the timelines of when it was tested in New Mexico and when Fat Man and and all that was tested. But I don't believe it. It's my understanding it wasn't being built for Germany. It was specifically built for Japan, but I could be wrong. Because a lot of those German scientists.
This is why I love this show.
Well, the German scientists, you remember, they came over, right? They came over after World War II, and a lot of the Nazis, and that's how we got the leg up on Russia. I mean, Russia wanted to develop the bomb too. Many countries were trying to get into this arms race, and Germany really cracked the code for us as we took these Nazi scientists and moved our program light years. So I don't believe that the bomb was ever intended. I believe it was for Tokyo. And I don't think they wanted to hit Tokyo. I really, truly, I know FDR did not want to hit Tokyo. Because once again, you hit Tokyo, then Japan's done. Japan's over. It would be like hitting New York, Los Angeles, Miami, and Dallas. The country would never recover. The United States would never recover from that strike, ever. I mean, you're taking out 98% of our overall production. Yeah. Yeah. Good conversation, buddy. I always love it when you call. What did you think of our boy David calling in?
You were losing viewers.
So I just wish people, I wish people would be nice. Why can't we be nice, Kevin? Why can't we just be nice? What's the cough? You're not a smoker, are you?
Oh, I don't know.
Are you okay?
I'm not answering that question.
You and I need to have a conversation. You better stop smoking, dude. You and I will talk about that another day. Let me show this one video, and then I got to get the hell out of here. Talk to you.
Have a good night.
See you, buddy. They had two bombs built, and that was testing to see what the two different bombs. But the premise was that they would use one, and if that didn't do what your second one, I know that, Glenn. But they weren't intended for Germany. Is that correct? They claimed Germany was trying to build one. Well, of course, Germany was trying to build one. I mean, Germany was light years ahead in their rocket technology. Their aerodynamics, their planes were far superior to ours. I mean, you got to understand, we were sending up Spitties, and late in the war, they started putting up jets. They were sending rockets. I mean, the radar was built truly for German technology and Germans' capability for long-range bombers. I mean, German engineering is no joke. They were amazing. And the reason why we are where we are today, a lot of our technology is because, I hate to say it, bringing the Nazis over, the Nazi scientists. Listen, I hate Nazis, but the United States grabbing them before Russia, that was pretty smart. I'm just letting you know. Here's a video I want to show you. It's, hey, this is a good one to end on. First of all, I want to thank everybody who donated, linktapgo.com. Listen, we've been on 2 nights this month. It's actually because we were the weekend and then Labor Day. So I appreciate everybody helping out. We always hit our goal. I'm not worried about it. You guys are amazing. We love you. We appreciate you. Take care of yourselves first. Take care of your family. If you guys have an opportunity, you like the show, you enjoy the show, it's first time watching, or you've watched it 100 times, maybe it's time to help the show out. If you can, we appreciate you. If you can't, give us a like, a share, maybe go buy a shirt. Listen to this. We got a lot to talk about tomorrow with Damani on. But listen to this. This guy, there's some cussing here, man, but I have never heard so much based truth. Based truth. Here it is. Listen to this.
Here, go to Gaza. You want to go talk in Gaza? These women, they can't talk in Gaza. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's become fashion. It's fashion. It's fashion, this bullshit. It's fashionable. Yes. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, does it? How many bombs? France, in fucking Syria, here, London. All it is an
Shirley, I'm glad you're doing okay. Just stop smoking, please. Stop smoking. I did it. If I can do it, you can do it.
excuse to hate Jews. It's us. The problem's us, innit? It's us. You think tomorrow, if there was no Israel, this problem would be solved? They fucking kill each other. What, genocide? We're the worst that committed genocide. The fucking population has tripled in the last 10 fucking years. Genocide. These people they're fucking idiots. They're idiots blind by hate.
Man, that guy, God, I loved being like that on this show. I've been clipped. Man, that's it. That's all this is. I told you when this started on October 8th, after October 7th, what I said was people are going to show you their true colors and who they are. And you're about to see the largest amount of anti-Semitic Jew hatred since World War II. People hate the Jews. It's just the truth. They do. They hate the Jews. And it doesn't matter what Christians have said. It doesn't matter what the Bible says. It doesn't matter what atrocities they went through. They're now apologizing for Hitler. Do you understand that Tucker Carlson put a guy on the show who basically said that Winston Churchill was the real Hitler of World War II, and now it's all over Twitter that Hitler wasn't a bad guy? It's all over Twitter. I can't even go on Twitter anymore. People are so effing stupid. Hitler just wanted to stop illegal immigration. Hitler just wanted to ensure Germany would survive. Oh, really? Is that why he blitzkrieged into Poland and went through France? Is that why they went ahead and rounded up 11 million people and only half of those were Jews? Really? Is that why they went after the gypsies and the nomads and the Slavs and slaughtered them? Oh, okay. Is that why he confiscated all Jews and threw them in the rotten cesspools, put stars on them, tattooed them? And the only reason that he killed so many Jews is because he didn't know how to feed them? Well, here's a point. Here's something you can do. Let them go. How about you free them? How about you stop collecting them? So he had a moment of crisis and he's like, oh my God, first million Jews. We can't feed all these people. I got an idea. Why don't we throw them in incinerators and gas them? Why'd you collect 10 more million? Why didn't you learn that lesson in the first 100,000? Give me a break. Hitler was a piece of shit coward. He was one of the most morally reprehensible pieces of garbage on this planet. And anyone who espouses that Hitler was a good guy, I don't care about my language, you are a fucking moron. Candace Owens, you're a fucking idiot. A complete moron. Jake Shields, you're a piece of I hope you enter UFC again, and I hope you get hit too hard. Even Nick Fuentes doesn't say Hitler was a good guy. I can't stand this. Candace Owens is putting out videos, oh, Hamas, and we're just killing Palestinians in Israel. You didn't say shit about Iraq. We didn't care when we killed 350,000 Iraqis. Nobody told us how to prosecute this war. And when they did, what did we say to them? You know what? We're going to cut off your funding. What do you think about that? You're no longer under UN protection. What do you think about that? Oh, well, U.S., we'll help you with Iraq. That's what we thought. Okay? Israel is done. I told you this. I told you that the two things I said is you're going to find out who people really are, and we're finding out. We're seeing it with Tucker Carlson. You're seeing it with Tucker. You're seeing it with Candace. Hating Jews is paying right now. It's paying big bucks. So, of course, that's where the money's going to go. Do you understand? When there is blood in the streets, it's time to sell real estate. That's the old adage. That's why so many people profited off the Jews being murdered in 1940 and 45. People didn't say anything. 1945 comes around, 44, 46, 47, and literally taking these properties, falsifying papers, removing it from Jewish families who were still alive and had fled and selling their properties and making a profit. People were doing it in 1940 and 39 and 38 for the Nazis. When there's blood on the streets, there's profit. And these people are smelling blood in the water. I love Candace Owens. I really do. I think she is the dumbest fucking idiot on the planet right now. I can't stand her. Every time I hear her talk, I want to punch myself in the face. Sure, Gazans dying sucks. It's not okay. You know what? Israel's just said, this is a bridge too far. We're done. Surrender. Why doesn't anyone say, like the Japanese, why is it coming to Israel dropping more poundage of weaponry than we did in Japan? Why don't they just surrender? If Hamas is so concerned about these people and Gazans are so pure of heart, just surrender. Oh, they can't. They're fighting for their territory. No, they're not. They're not. We gave them concessions. We gave them Gaza. I say we because America is absolutely involved in foreign policy in Israel. And we have been since 1952 at a high level. I'm telling you right now, you may not like that I'm saying this about Tucker Carlson. Go watch it. Go watch it. You don't platform these people. And if you do, you challenge them. You go after them. You hit them with the facts. You ask questions that just embarrasses them. You basically melt them down like David. David was so pissed that he couldn't get me upset. And he wanted me to. He wanted me to just go up. And I wouldn't give him what he wanted. So what did he do? He started crying and insulting and throwing a hissy fit because that's what betas do. Tucker Carlson should have blasted that historian. Hitler just was upset because he couldn't feed the Jews and didn't know what to do. So they thought the most humane thing was to kill them. Is that why they starved them? Is that why the average body weight of people in concentration camps was around 86 pounds? Is that why they weighed as much as a 13 and 12-year-old and 14-year-old who was skinny? Give me a break. If you support Hitler, you're trash. You're just trash. You're white Aryan trash. You might as well be in prison and have a bunch of tattoos and have a swastika. You know what? We eradicated you people once. We'll do it again. You guys are garbage. You're just garbage. And anyone who is celebrating that Jews are killing Palestinian Gazans, you're garbage. War sucks. The only people who are opening their mouth are the people who've never been involved in war. You got no fucking clue what you're talking about. You just don't know. You just don't know. You're not a historian. You didn't learn from experiential learning. You don't know any tactical understanding of what's going on. 75,000 work furlough programs for Gazans. They renovated and tried to renovate their water system how many times, and all they did was take the copper piping and throw fucking missiles over the wall. They would drop food and humanitarian aid, and what happened? Gazans would light it up and kill civilians and steal it. You guys think that terrorists are good people. You guys are idiots. The people who are sitting here and saying, oh, Gaza. Yes, it's sad. 40,000 kids are what they're saying. I seriously doubt that number, but fine. It's horrible. There's no doubt about it. So let me ask you a question. Why does 92% of adult age Gazans think that Israel should be annihilated off the planet? Does that sound like a country that wants peace? Do you think that's a country that is interested in making bread and breaking bread with their neighbors? No. They hate the Jews. And you can kill every Jew in Israel. You can nuke that place till the cows go home. And you know what? You know what's going to happen? 3 months later, Muslims, Shiites, Sunnis will start killing each other. Kurds will kill Muslims. Shiites will kill Muslims. Sunnis will kill Muslims. JIB will fight Hamas. Hamas will fight Hezbollah. It'll become a power grab. It'll be Iran versus Saudi Arabia, funding absolute genocide in their own countries. Why? Because it's happened before. If Muslims don't have Jews to hate, they hate each other. Just wait. And when they don't have Jews to hate, maybe it's Christians. Maybe that's next. Maybe it's the Greeks. Maybe it's the Orthodox again. I don't know. It doesn't matter. The point is the Middle East, there's nobody innocent in the Middle East. Everybody's got blood on their hands. All right. I think I can go now. I feel satisfied. Here is Candace Owens' interview. And I'm not going to sit here and say that she doesn't have some points in this statement, because there are some points that are interesting. But man, if you listen to the rest with her sitting here talking about Hitler and talking about Winston Churchill, it's insane.
Look, there is no person in good conscience who should be comfortable with the amount of death that's happening in Gaza. And yes, if you are going to correlate it to Dresden, that would be a fair comparison, except much more has been dropped on Gaza than was dropped in Dresden.
So she's talking about Dresden. I've talked about Dresden on the show a lot. I'm glad they're bringing it up. It's true. She's right. This pales in comparison. It's now exceeded Nagasaki and Hiroshima. The amount of bombs dropped in Gaza is ungodly in a densely populated area, 7 miles wide. Yeah, a lot of people are going to die. That's why they told them to get out. All they had to do is turn Hamas over.
So is it fair to call what's happening in Gaza a Holocaust? Is that what we're looking after when you have this nonstop onslaught?
No, it's war. There's a difference. It's war. That's it. Civilians died in World War II. They died in World War I. They died in Vietnam. They died in Korea. They died in Afghanistan. They died in Lebanon. They died in Syria. They died in Bosnia Herzegovina. They died in Kuwait. You had Hindus who died, Pakistanis, Indians. People die in war. This is what happens. It's not okay. It sucks. That's why we don't go to war. That's why we don't do it anymore. That's why we don't put soldiers on the ground.
It's completely ridiculous to say, oh, well, this is happening because of Hamas. Let's be very clear. It is happening because the Israeli government will not stop bombing them. Okay. So you had a very sympathetic audience all around the world, myself included, when October 7th happened. There's not a single person that should or could justify the terrorist acts that was enacted by Hamas. But the collective punishment that is being assigned to the Gazans, the Palestinians living in Gaza, is also unacceptable. And the entire world should condemn it, and it should be made to stop. And I do believe that a radical fringe has taken hold of Israel.
No. I agree with everything about what she said. I agree. It should be condemned. There should be no celebrations that Gazans are being killed, and it's going to happen in West Bank too. You think it's just going to be Gaza? West Bank's getting cleared out too. I'm just letting you know, because the IRGC is there. There's terrorist groups in West Bank, and once they flee, and a lot of them have, to West Bank, they're going to have to hit West Bank too. I agree. It's just horrendous. It's horrible. Nobody should be celebrating the death of Gazans. No. You shouldn't be celebrating the death of Germans during World War II. You shouldn't be celebrating the death of Japanese. You shouldn't be celebrating the death of Americans. Death sucks. War sucks. It's horrible. Think about the people who actually have to execute and prosecute this war. Everyone says, "Oh, well, all the Israelis they're raping people and they're celebrating and they harbor pedos and." All these are excuses for something that you're extremely uncomfortable with. This is why only certain people can be in the military. This is why only certain people are selected for the job, because you don't have the capabilities emotionally to do what needs to be done. This is why civilians are not in the military. I'm sorry. That's why we're looking for a few good men and you ain't it. That's the truth. And the people who are protesting and crying and upset and pissed off and saying this is unfair, yeah, It is. That's why you're not doing the job. That's why people who join the military want to serve their country and they believe that they're doing the greater good. Now, is killing Gazans a good thing? No. It's not a good thing. Are children dying? Is that good? No, it's not good at all. What do you want Israel to do? What do you want them to do? You want them to allow Hamas to come back in strength? You want to allow all the kids who have been bred to kill Israel, to carry weapons, to use grenades, to learn about RPGs when they're 2.5 years old. Would you like to see the videos? Oh, those are fake. Those are propaganda. Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah. It's all propaganda. Ask anyone who served overseas in the sandbox and ask them about children and women. You don't know what you're a civilian. You don't know what you're fucking talking about. So until you've been over there and prosecuted that war, you have no idea what's going on and why. You just assume that Israel wants to expand its land. Do you think Israel has a overpopulation problem? Israel is one of the most inclusive places on the planet. They're one of the only countries in the Middle East that support Christians, Orthodox, Jews, Gentiles. They've got blacks, Muslims, Ethiopians. They've got Slavs. They've got Greeks. They've got gays and lesbians in that country. This is the only time I've ever heard that anyone, especially the United States, says you don't have a right to defend yourself. You don't have a right to defend your country. No, they do. And you'll be damn skippy if Canada starts launching over frickin', bombs at us, that we will knock them into the Stone Age. And nobody's going to be crying. Nobody's going to tell us what to do. Nobody. You think anyone told us what to do with Iraq? Not a chance. Not a chance. Nobody tells the United States what to do. And we're going to go tell Israel what to do? You know what? You know what they're afraid of? They're afraid that Israel is going to prosecute, wipe out Gaza. They're going to wipe out West Bank. That they are not going to offer any type of rebuilding or replacement. They are just going to eradicate these people from their country. And that's what the United States is afraid of. Yeah, there's a great point. What about Ukrainian kids, Russian kids? Nobody cares about them. How about the cobalt and lithium mines where drug lords in South Africa, in South America are literally murdering tribes of people, and it's indentured slavery. It's the new blood diamond, cobalt and lithium. Nobody cares about those people. What about Chicago? Do we care about Chicago? If you are a terrorist, the message is simple, and it's been this way. It's been U.S. doctrine for a long time. If you harbor terrorists, you're the enemy. That's it. They warned those people. They gave them 30 days. They gave them a stay of execution. They allowed 75,000 to come in and work in that country, and they betrayed them, and they killed Jews, and the Jews said, I'm done. We're done. Good. Oh, well, the USS Liberty and the Rothschilds and blah, blah, blah. The only thing you're doing is you are uncomfortable with the repercussions of war. So you're trying to make excuses. Israel started World War I and II. Give me a break. You people are just idiots. You've never picked up a book. You literally just make this shit up as you go because it sounds good. You fill in the gaps. I'm done. I got to go. Folks, thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me Show. We'll see you tomorrow, Friday. Damani Felder, I think he hasn't confirmed, but I'm pretty sure Damani's coming on. Leroy, Amy, myself, Olivia will all be here. It'll be a good Friday night. Stop on by, Red Friday. Do me a favor. We have a little bit of an extended closing tonight. We're bringing VCL back into the fray. So do me a favor. Stick around and at least watch that. Take the number down. Help out a vet. It's important. First, we're going to start off with Wimkin. Go over to Wimkin, wimkin.com. They are one of our sponsors, umbrella partners. I don't know, whatever. They are amazing. They're a social media platform, 100% free speech. Go there, post anything you want. Post your videos, post your pictures. You can even actually create a blog. It's a very inclusive spot for political discussion. And yeah, there's both sides of the aisle there, but it's a great place to be able to speak your mind and be absolutely 100% uncensored. It's an amazing place. Go over to Wimkin, take a look. Please do that for us, and we will go out like we always do, or always used to, but VCL and CBS has been kind of a jerk. So we're going to go ahead and do the Wimkin commercial, VCL, and then the closing credits. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Thanks for helping the show. We appreciate y'all and everything you give. And David, you have a small penis.
David Boreanaz with the Cast of SEAL team, and we have an important message for returning vets.
We want you to know if you're struggling to cope, there's help and it's just a phone call away.
The Veterans Crisis Line is staffed with experienced professionals who know your struggles.
There's no greater sacrifice in service to our country. We're able to enjoy our freedoms because of it.
Your service is important, you are important.
For vets and their families, the Veterans Crisis Line is here to help 24 hours a day. Please call. I'm David Boreanaz.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.